Everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Welcome to being a Black mother in business. Listening to Pepperlane's leaders. It's my honor to open the event today. My name is Brandon Campbell. I'm a mom of two beautiful kids, age 2 and 6, and I'm the founder of Brandon Campbell Communications, which helps businesses find their voice and connect with their audiences through compelling, strategic content. I'm also a Pepperlane leader in Philadelphia. Please feel free to use the chat feature today during the event. We can't see you, but we still want to feel your energy. So use the feature freely. Make sure to select all panelists and attendees when you chat so everyone can see your messages. So I wanted to share with you all today a story about my path to entrepreneurship, which is called Together We Grow. To be a determined, confident Black woman in the workplace means that you are a threat. Your strength is used as an excuse for abuse. Your confidence defined as arrogance. Speak up, but not too much. Show passion, but not like that. Your efficiency, an excuse to give you more work. And finally, when you call a spade, you're labeled angry. Whatever you do, you can never be the angry Black woman. I'm on the road I'm meant to be on, but the path to entrepreneurship should be one of choice. But it isn't always. It was not for me. My pregnancy with my now 2-year-old daughter marked the most challenging time of my professional life. But thank goodness for my healthy baby girl. She grew stronger as the executive director of my organization started our maternity leave discussion with the words, "We don't have to follow any of the laws." She kept growing when I experienced the debilitating pain of pelvic symphysis dysfunction beginning at 18 weeks. My doctor prescribed physical therapy while my employer refused to permit me to go to appointments. The nurture and comfort assigned to most women during pregnancy didn't extend to me. My baby girl cheered from my womb as the event I spearheaded was flawlessly executed, complete with television coverage and attendance from Philadelphia's mayor. The team was acknowledged while the leader ignored. As my star shone brighter, the executive director's anger towards me grew. Baby girl thankfully grew as I rushed to the ER at 8 months, unable to keep food or water down for more than 24 hours. 4 hours in the hospital with no water, no IV, and a nurse that couldn't even pretend to listen. It was too much. I started my leave a month earlier than planned. Baby grew while mama finally exhaled. Then, at last, baby Riley was born, healthy and beautiful, a much-loved sister for Matthew and the last addition to our family. But the fear of returning to work haunted me. I couldn't go back. All I had was my writing. I couldn't turn that into a living, or could I? My business and I are now growing together. There are still challenges to navigate, but I'm charting my course with my sanity, sanctity, and well-being in mind. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Zama. She is a Haitian American songstress and songwriter, and she's had a lifelong love of music and began singing and performing as a child. Having grown up influenced by R&B, Caribbean, and African musical styles, Zama's music is a fusion of all the different worlds that have inspired her music today. Zama's high energy and soulful vocals are bringing her to global stages. She will be performing Martin Gaye's What's Going On.
Hello, everyone. I am beyond happy to be here, and thank you so much, Brandon, for the introduction. This song is one of my favorites, and I think it really sheds a lot of light on what's going on right now. So this is What's Going On, and feel free to dance along and sing along. I'll feel you in your spirit. Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's too many of you dying. You know we got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? La, 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 la. Father, Father, everybody thinks we're wrong. But who are they to judge us simply because our hair is long? You know, we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket lines, picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? 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 Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Oh, brother, 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 there's too many of you dying. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. 'Cause what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for opening this very important event, and Rebecca for your beautiful voice. Hello, my name is Sharon Khan. I'm the CEO of Pepperlane. This event was born after I had the privilege to spend the last couple of weeks in conversation with our Black leaders and some of our Black members at Pepperlane. Pepperlane is committed to stand with our Black mothers in business and fight for injustice. We need to have courageous conversations about racism, especially in the business world. Today, we are here to discuss the topic of being a Black mother in business with 3 of our beloved Black female entrepreneurs. It is my pleasure to introduce, I'll start, I don't see Lusandra yet, but I'll start with Miriam. Miriam Michelle, if you can just wave, thank you. Miriam is the founder of M&M Elite Events, a premier event production and design company that produces elegant weddings, corporate, nonprofit events, and high-end luxury celebrations. She's also the executive director of the nonprofit Healthy Waltham that promotes healthy eating, active living opportunities, and mental wellness to the most vulnerable of Waltham town. Melissa Mueller-Douglas. Melissa is the founder of My Retreat, the 90 Minutes Women's Retreat where mindfulness and gratitude meet, and a licensed master social worker. She's the proud mama of 2 enthusiastic and creative kids. She's on a mission to reach 1 million women with self-care practices because self-care is a necessity, and with chocolate, mindfulness is luxurious. And Lusandra Everett. Lusandra is known for her no-nonsense tax advice and her ability to connect with her audience. As the best-selling author of the Home Biz Tax Lady's No-Nonsense Guide to Home Business Management, she understands finances from both the business owner and the customer perspectives. Welcome, ladies. It is my honor to have you as our panelists today. Miriam, I'd like to start with you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you. We are all mothers first. So the question that I wanted to start with, can you share your experience raising Black children in the United States?
Yeah. So I know for, people who are not of the Black race, this may be an underlying issue that kind of was background and now it's very foreground. But for mothers, families of people who've always had Black and brown skin, this is nothing new. This is something that we've always struggled with. My children, myself, and even my personal experience growing up, I grew up in a white suburban America, and my parents put me through private school, or all of our sisters through private school, my sisters through private school. And so I was the minority. And, I remember at a very young age, wanting to be white. And because people teased me, for my Black friends, I was too white. I spoke white. For my white friends, I was that token Black person. And my son had the similar experience. And it's hard. It's something that we are still currently struggling with, and to make him and my daughter proud of their skin. I mean, I used to perm my hair, and now I'm going back to natural so they can begin to love who they are. And so I have to lead by example. So that's a struggle that we're always dealing with. And it's a constant education for myself. The education system in America doesn't kind of hone in on the Black experience. And so I'm trying to do that as a parent, to teach not only myself and my husband, who's Haitian, so he has that experience, but to be a good mother to children and their history as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa? What is it like to be a mother of Black kids in America now?
It is an experience, right? So raising two Black children, my focus is on making sure that they understand their worth. They are incredibly bright children who are creative and always inquiring about the world around them. And my responsibility as their mom is to help protect that and keep that love for life and learning thriving. I consider my responsibility as a Black mom as a badge of honor and a deep responsibility, because I have to, as Miriam shared, educate beyond what the typical education would be about family culture. I need to educate about what the community culture is and the American culture is, so that my children can stay safe.
Yeah, thank you. Lusandra, you're a little bit ahead of Miriam and Melissa. You're our teenagers. What does it look like?
So even growing up as a child, and the things that I have to say to my kids is, you can't do what white people do. We are, as we move around, we are generally in predominantly white neighborhoods. It just so happens that where we are now is still predominantly white, but very diverse. But, if you're a Black kid, you've had that statement said to you, and it's because you can't do the same thing and be viewed the same. You're going to be looked at worse. And so when my son wants to go out with friends, this is why we want to know who's your mama, right? Because if you go out and get in some foolishness, then they're going to be looking at you first. So it doesn't matter that my son is this 6'2" teddy bear. When he leaves my home, he's a monster. And so even though he is the sweetest, most gentle boy I know, I have to remind him that that's not how the world sees him. I have a girl who, she is now starting to develop, and our girls are highly sexualized. And so I have to let her know that it's okay for her to be modest. And even though the Black girls pick on her because, she wears nice clothes, she's covered, she gets picked on for that. And, her hair is curly like mine. And, but she wants to be able to fling her ponytail, right? If you've been a Black girl in, predominantly white areas, you always want to be able to fling your ponytail, because when you can't fling your ponytail, you're not like everybody else. So Miriam, honey, I get it. I got that completely. So it really is, we have to have these speeches and teach our kids to walk these fine lines. And now having this discussion, and especially because my kids have not seen this type of stuff. I've witnessed this type of stuff. They have not witnessed it. So they're like, why is this even relevant to me? Because they don't understand that, yes, baby, that could be you. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. None of that matters. It could be you. So having those tough conversations, it's tight. It's hard, but that's what we have to do.
Thank you for sharing. How, I think I'm going to go with Melissa now. How has being a Black woman impacted your professional experience and your business?
Wherever I go, I am reminded that I am different, and my responsibility is to embrace that difference whenever possible, because it can be used as a strength. When I'm in a room as a therapist, as a social worker in the healthcare field, I am generally the only one who looks like me in that room, or one of very few. And what I tend to do is use visualization, and I will bring with me into that room the women who are a support, whether it be family members, whether it be women who have passed away, who have left an incredible legacy behind, or my friends and the supporters of my retreat business, because I can visualize them being there with me, and knowing that I can only speak from my own experience, and yet generally that reverberates, right? Based on people making assumptions that how I act or think or behave represents an entire group of people. So I am very poised. I am very tactful about how I engage, how I speak, and I still keep a fine balance of being the most authentic self that I can be. Regarding my business, I have found that generally women who are, well, I'll only speak for myself. For my business, I've considered, am I going to put out images that that represent who's coming to my business, my retreat business, or do I put out images of the women that I want to know this is a bold and radical and safe place for? And what I've decided is, through my social media, I only put out images of Black women, and yet on my actual business page, there is a mixture of women from different cultural backgrounds, because I still want to be true to the women who do attend. So it's a reminder, even within my own business as a Black woman, to put out into the universe who I am wanting to attract, and know that they are welcome absolutely welcome to be in my space, and also not put out an image of this is the way that things are, right? Only Black women are here, because that's not the case. And I want to make sure that I'm not disappointing some when they arrive, or having it just feel inauthentic when people do arrive and see that it's a mixture of people, which is working well.
Thank you. Lusandra?
Yes, ma'am. So, so where we are in business is that we, even in this moment of activism, we are still walking that fine line, because we want to get that point across without offending people. We still have to be careful about offending people. For just being a Black person in business, people already expect us to fail. Okay, they expect to be disappointed. That is the expectation. And so when you receive professional service, expedient service, all of that, people are surprised. And you're like, wow, but that's just the way that we have been conditioned to be. And so, it can't be that you just might be a rookie in business and you made an error. You make that error, then that person, like, I'm never coming to you again. So you can get poor service from corporate America and just like, oh, I'm just going to complain to the manager and then we're going to go on about our business. But when you get, a poor service from a Black business, is we're not going there anymore. And that's Black people too. Right? So let us be clear, but that is just all the social conditioning about business, about Black business. And so as Black business owners, we have to make sure that we're on time, that we don't have a service failure. And if by God, we do have a service failure, we're going way over and beyond to try to make it right, so that somebody doesn't go bad mouthing, oh, I went to this Black owned business and it was tragic, don't go there again. And I'll give you a prime example. I had someone who was friends with me on Facebook. She went to my website to order something. I had a technical glitch. She lambasted me in an email. I came to support this business and I can't even get my product, this, that, and I'm sitting here going, wow, all you had to do was send me an inbox and say, hey, I didn't get taken to my product, and it would have been fixed immediately. But instead, you chose to degrade me and my business. Here's a refund for your product. Have a nice day. Like, I don't even want you to have my product, right? But that's the line that we walk as Black business owners, period. And then being a Black woman in business, I'm really thankful for the Pepperlane community, because Pepperlane has been very welcoming and open to everyone. But listen, like I said, Pepperlane, that ain't like it is everywhere else. Just know that, like, this is the Disneyland of women's networking groups.
Thank you. Miriam?
Yeah, I'd have to say I was born a perfectionist. So being Black is exhausting. So I think I was just writing in a piece for the Boston Foundation, where they were doing a Women of Color leadership circle. And one of the things that the opening remarks that I wrote and that I said was, being a Black woman leader, there's zero error to fail. You always have to go above and beyond. That's the expectation. And similar to Lysandra, that's why I clapped her. This is from a Black, brown, white, it's the same expectation. So you can't fail. And because we have had stigma, it puts a lot of pressure for me. Like I said, I'm one who suffers from anxiety and naturally as a person. So to just, when I'm in business facing, I always have those butterflies. Did I do well? Did they like me? It's like a constant narration in my head. And you know, and it does break me sometimes, and I'll be vulnerable. It does break me. And sometimes I have to look in myself or journal or speak out and speak to other Black women leaders and see if they're doing the same thing. In my business specifically, event planning, it's a predominantly white women, gay men business, especially if it's wedding focused. And it is very competitive here in Boston. When I first started, now I've been in the business about 10 plus years. Let's just say the first 5 years took me 5 or 6 years to be profitable because the pool was small. They didn't hire me. And so a lot of on my website was majority white focus because you didn't want to be too Black and show that you have Black clients, and you didn't want to be too white and it's this weird balance. And that was predominantly why I left, you know, doing weddings, and I only take them at a small rate and focus more on corporate and nonprofit because now I think I've proven myself in business. But it's always this fine line. And I remember not being hired for business. Actually, I remember this specifically. I had a white assistant at the time, and she took the meeting for me. But when I came into the meeting, you could see the expression of the people. They're like, "Who's the owner?" And she's the Ariana was like, "Oh, Miriam is." And their face kind of looked at. They did this look. I don't think they noticed that they did it, but I noticed it. And then, you know, 2 to 3 days later, like, "Oh, we went with someone else." So it's a constant bias that I have to deal with. And yeah, and I'm hoping to educate the communities that I am as well to be like, you're only a product as a business owner of who you surround yourself. So in terms of vendors, you need to show vendors other types of people, you know, a person wearing a hijab or a person who's a Latina, Asian. You have to be diverse, and you start with that circle. So I tend to hire Black vendors, but I make sure my list has Asian, I have Latinx vendors, so I can showcase to clients that I'm a rainbow. And I hire for color because they don't get the first opportunity, but I also hire someone who is fantastic, and you're missing out when you're not hiring those type of people, and you just stick in that same circle.
Thank you. Lysandra, how can we partner to change the systematic racism and injustice in our own communities? And what can members of our audience that listening today, what can we do to become better allies and take action?
So number one, call it when you see it, right? When you see it happening and you know when it's happening, it's not one of those, "Oh, offended person, don't be so sensitive." It's, "Hey, offending person, you were wrong." And it's not like you got to come out here and embarrass people on social media, all that. Even if you pull them aside and said, "Hey, that wasn't okay." Because see, for me to say it's not okay, it's, "Oh, Lysandra's just being sensitive. Lysandra's just playing the race card," right? But when you call it out, then that's when people start to pay attention. And secondly, is really start looking to educate yourselves and understanding the history of Black people in America. What's being taught in school is not the whole truth. And in this age of where people are trying to really sweep this under the rug, you have to understand the history. You have to understand housing, redlining, and how loans were denied to Black people, how after World War II, soldiers came home got the GI Bill. Black soldiers didn't get the same opportunities. So understanding like the history of the Black experience in America, when you get some of that, then you understand what our complaint is. It's not, we ain't playing the victim. Like that sets me on fire, right? We're not playing the victim. There is a serious system from slavery to Jim Crow laws, all of this up to where we are now. So there's a history here that, like people like, oh, this is about George Floyd. No, it is not. It's about George Floyd and everyone that came before them. So start to educate yourselves and understanding what has been happening in Black America, because that is not what's being taught in schools. And even what's being taught in schools isn't accurate. My son, who went to school at Lincoln in the 7th grade, he came home, he said, Mommy, John Brown was a murderer. I said, the abolitionist John Brown was a murderer? I said, to whom? To who was he a murderer? So what's being taught in school isn't the whole truth. It's not the whole perspective. So when you educate yourself, then it starts to shift who you are. But mainly call it when you see it. Don't be afraid to correct people and say this was wrong. Because if you don't do it, then our voices mean nothing.
I just wanted to take a moment for us to think about it. Thank you. Melissa?
So at a national level, my personal focus is on the school to prison pipeline, because we know that it's real. And we know that once somebody ends up in the prison system or jail, incarcerated in any capacity, that their likelihood of being able to get funding to start a business, or their likelihood of being able to be hired, right? Just for employment by one of the ladies in Pepperlane or wherever they're trying to be hired is going to be decreased. So if we don't know, along that same thread of self-education about what the school to prison pipeline is, it is real and it needs to be looked at. And as far as what we can do in our communities, again, I'll speak for myself. I am very mindful about how I respond to injustice, and I am very mindful about processing that with my children, because I believe that my children are going to remember those things that they witnessed, what they saw me reading, what they saw me saying, what they saw me doing, which is why I'm going to share this video with them, at least my eldest daughter first, who's 7, because our children are what we show them. Right? We can speak to them as much as we want, but our actions are what's going to teach our children. And that leads into the self-care that we're doing for ourselves during this time, because sometimes we need to pause, like you just did, and sometimes for much longer, until we have the energy to continue marching forward. And there are others in the ranks who are willing and capable and able to pick up the slack and just speak to those concentric circles that they do have power and rapport with, right? So if you are able to talk to your family at the dinner table about what they saw on TV, if you're able to talk to your parents or your siblings about an injustice that they were a part of, that's the power that you have to make a change within your family. And then it ripples out from there. And I'm a firm believer of our children being our future. So again, just focusing on how we can help prepare our children for this marathon that we're in, whether we be Black or white parents.
Thank you. Miriam?
Well, now you guys made me the closer. So what I always the type of person that says, I'm not about giving someone a fish, I'm about teaching someone to fish. And for me, and echoing what Melissa said, it's education, education, education. My husband has a different view. It's economics. So I truly believe both of them go hand in hand. And Lysandra alluded to it earlier about redlining. That has a huge, huge impact on education. And it's a division between white school and black school, and tax dollars where the tax dollars go. And so I'm urging all people on this call, voting and speaking up and speaking to your city officials about what you can do is what you should be doing. And it's not healthy in a world that's constantly diverse and globalized for a child growing up to only see their own specific race. It's up to you as parents to talk to your school district and say, why, I want my child to be involved in a school system that's more diverse, because that's when they leave your nest, they're out there in the world and they're only a byproduct of what you show them. And even personally for me as a mother, I have a client now who is a Down syndrome client for M&M, and had me thinking as a mom, well, I need to include Dario in that space, because through this, I'm learning about my own bias. Everyone has a bias, whether you're black, white, whatever color. And Dario, my daughter, Genevieve, they need to be able to see all types of people. And until you start including your children and speaking up and showing your children all types of people in all walks of life, that's when things will start to change. Yes, these processes and these policies that are going to place right now, a lot of people forget that slavery is a 500-year-old problem. Civil rights just happened only in the 60s, and now we're in the 20s. It's only about 60, 70 years ago. So it's really not that long ago. And so will I see it in my lifetime? I'm not sure. But will my children see it? Yes, that's for us to do that education process right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this courageous conversation. And I want to thank Brandon Campbell for sharing her personal story, to Lusandra Everett, Melissa Mueller-Douglas, Miriam Michelle, Rebecca Zama for sharing their stories and their voices. We're going to close our event with a song from Tanisha Scarlett. She performed the Pepperlane Conference in 2019, and we are very thankful for her that she's joining us once again. She's a graduate of the University of Massachusetts Amherst with a concentration on social services. She's a single mom of 2 wonderful boys, and she's also a leader of her own band, T and the Gents. Tanisha will be singing Lean on Me by Bill Withers. Please welcome her. And I want to thank our audience for coming. This is really, really important conversation to start. Thank you very much.
Probably would help if I unmute. Thank you so much for having me today. It's always an honor when I get to do anything that empowers women, Black women, mothers, entrepreneurs. Pardon me, because my son, he's really loves music and he knows I'm singing, so he might pop in the video. But when I spoke with Sharon yesterday to sing this song for me, because it's like I'm listening to all your stories and I have bits and pieces of every story. Like, I was the Black girl that spoke white. I went to a high school in New Hampshire. So Black History Month, I had to know everything about Black history, and be the token. And I also am biracial. So then you have so many different dynamics that you try to juggle in life and try to always make sure that you're not ruffling feathers or coming across as stereotypes that you don't want to enforce, because that's not representative of us. But whenever I sing anything, I always want it to mean something. And I think it's so important, like even just the song Lean on Me. It's just so true, because we all need somebody. We all have to be allies to each other. We all have to support each other. And any progress that's made in our society is done unified. And so I believe in, all the lyrics all of what's going on today. And I just want to say thank you. And I won't keep everybody because I know my son, I'm still doing homeschooling, so I have a Zoom for him too in like an hour. So feel free to sing along, or, you know, I'm just kind of jazzing it up my own way because he sings this song very deep and my voice is not that deep. I just speak deeply. But here we go. Okay, Mommy's on right now, sorry. Sometimes in our life, we all have pain. We all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long, 'cause I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, sister, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call me when you need a friend. Oh, you can call me, lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long. We're all gonna need somebody to lean on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.